Alright, so in this video here, I'm going to show you how to simplify rational expressions. Now, these examples that I'm doing are coming from page 13 in the Unit 3 packet. So, rational, in the word rational is the word ratio, and ratio means like a fraction. So, if we want to simplify fractions, the first thing we have to do is factor. We want to come up with common factors that we could possibly cancel out here. So both of my terms on the top and the bottom are binomials. So first thing I'm going to do to factor is look for a GCF. So my greatest common factor of 3 and 12 is just a 3. Once I divide both of these terms by 3, I'm left with x minus 4. Well, on the bottom, my GCF of 5 and 20 is a 5. And once I divide out my 5, I'm left with an x minus 4. Right, so you're not trying to find something that all of these numbers have in common. You're just factoring the top and then factoring the bottom separately. So now you can see we clearly have a match of x minus 4. So just like, 5 over 5 equals 1 and x over x equals 1, so does x minus 4 over x minus 4. It just equals 1, so we can cancel them out, and we're left with 3 over 5 as our final answer. Okay, so our original problem here is actually equivalent to the answer that we ended up with. They're the same expression. This is just simplified. So to show you why that's true, or how that's true, and you don't have to do this with every problem, but let's just say I set x equal to 2, and I go back to my original problem, and I plug in 2 for x. So that's going to give me a 6 minus 12 over a 10 minus 20. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. 10 minus 20 is a negative 10. And this reduces to 3 over 5. Right? So they're equivalent. Any number you'd plug in for x up here, you're going to get the 3 over 5 back. Okay? So let's do the next example. For example 2. We have x squared plus 2x minus 8 over x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, so I want to look for a common factor, so I have to factor this first. One of the most common mistakes that I see with these problems is that students are just like, oh, I see an x squared and an x squared. Let's just cancel them out. And math teachers everywhere cry a little bit inside. They die a little bit inside, actually. So don't ever do that. You can cancel them out because they're not factors. They're connected with the rest of the expression by a plus sign, right? So we have to factor first. So these are trinomials, quadratic expressions here. So we would use the T-chart method. That's how I factor, but any method you have to factor is fine, but you're trying to find two numbers that multiply to negative 8 and add to 2. So if you're still struggling on this process, you should back up a couple videos and watch factoring trinomials. But factors of 8 that add to 2 are going to be a plus 4 and a minus 2. So on the bottom, I'm looking for numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 7. These signs are plus plus, so I'm going to have a plus plus here. And that's going to give me 3 and 4. Okay, so now that I've factored it, I'm looking for a common factor, and clearly it's the x plus 4, so I can cancel those out. So my final answer would be x minus 2 over x plus 3. Right? We're not solving for x, we're just simplifying. So our original fraction and our answer, they're equivalent. I could do the same thing. I could take a number for x, I plug it in here, I plug it in here, I'm going to get the same thing. Okay? So let's do my last example. So this is the third one. We have x squared minus 64 over x squared minus 11x plus 24. Oh, I didn't give myself much space. Okay, so this is a binomial, so I'm not going to use the T-chart. I am going to look for a GCF first, but x squared and 64 don't have anything in common. This is actually a difference of perfect squares. So I can just take the square root of 64 and split up the x squared to give me an x plus 8 and an x minus 8. Okay, now on the bottom, I've got a trinomial, that means another t-chart. This sign is a plus, this is a minus, telling me I'm going to have an x minus and an x minus. So factors of 24 that are going to add to negative 11 are a minus 8 and a minus 3. So once again, I do have a common factor of an x minus 8, so my final answer would be x plus 8 over x minus 3. So there we go. Simplifying rational expressions is just basically factoring all over again. So if you still struggle with factoring, obviously that's going to give you some difficulty with these problems, but once you get better at factoring, then these problems will also get easier. But there you go. Thanks for watching.